Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope all of you are fine. Today I shall continue with the same chapter, Human Development, chapter number 3 from the second book. We have done this chapter in the previous book also. The same topic we had done. Now this topic here, it is related to India. Now I shall continue from where I left previously. Let us first study from this box what is human development. Since this chapter is related about human development, let us first discuss what is actually human development. So, human development is a process of enlarging the range of people's choices, increasing their opportunities for education, health care, income, and empowerment, and covering the full range of human choices from a sound physical environment to economic, social, and political freedom. तो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट क्या है? ये एक्चुअली पीपल को अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलनी चाहिए एजुकेशन के लिए, प्रॉपर हेल्थ केयर होनी चाहिए, उनके इनकम लेवल रीजनेबल होना चाहिए, दे शुड बी एम्पावर्ड एंड दे शुड बी कवरिंग फुल रेंज ऑफ ह्यूमन चॉइसेस, और उनका जो फिज़िकल एनवायरनमेंट है वो भी बहुत साउंड होना चाहिए, उन्हें इकोनॉमिक, सोशल और पॉलिटिकल फ्रीडम मिलनी चाहिए. तो ये सब होगा तो वी विल कॉल इट प्रॉपर ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट. Thus, enlarging the range of people's choices is the most significant aspect of human development. People's choices may involve a host of other issues, but living a long and healthy life, to be educated and have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living, including political freedom, guaranteed human rights, and personal self-respect, etc., are considered some of the non-negotiable aspects of human development. तो समझ में आया what is human development, what is proper human development. It means living a long and healthy life, being educated, and having access to all the resources that are required for a decent standard of living. Concerted efforts were made to look at development critically at various times in the past, but most systematic effort towards was the publication of the first Human Development Report by United Nations Development Program. तो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट को एक्सप्लेन कई लोगों ने किया, but the most appropriate report was the one given by UNDP in 1990. Since then, this organization has been bringing out World Human Development Report every year. 1990 के बाद ये World Human Development Report every year issue होती है. This report does not only define human development, it make amendments and changes its indicators, but also ranks all the countries of the world based on the calculated scores. तो एवरी ईयर इसके इंडिकेटर्स में चेंजेस भी होते रहें और उसके बेस पे ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स बनाया जाता है. अकॉर्डिंग टू द ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट ऑफ 1993, progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people are seen as the minimum conditions for human development. जो 1993 की जो रिपोर्ट थी उसके अंदर प्रोग्रेसिव डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन एंड इंक्रीजिंग एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ पीपल का एम्पावरमेंट बढ़ा दिया गया. दिस वॉज सीन एन इम्पॉर्टेंट कंडीशन फॉर ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट. क्या? प्रोग्रेसिव डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन एंड इंक्रीजिंग एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ पीपल. Moreover, this report also mentions that development must be woven around the people and not people around development, कि जो डेवलपमेंट है वो लोगों के चारों ओर मूव करना चाहिए, ना कि लोग डेवलपमेंट के चारों ओर मूव करें, है ना. यू हैव ऑलरेडी स्टडीड. अब हमने जो चैप्टर पढ़ा था फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी में, इस सेम चैप्टर को हमने बहुत डिटेल में पढ़ा था एंड उसके अंदर हमने ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट की जो वेरियस अप्रोचेस थी उनको भी स्टडी किया था. आई जस्ट थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन व्हाट वी स्टडीड इन दिस बुक. इफ यू रिमेंबर स्टूडेंट्स, I told you that this report given by UNDP, it included first longevity of life, second knowledge base, and third a decent material standard of living. Now, to keep this index simple, only a limited number of variables are included. Initially, life expectancy was chosen as an index of longevity. Adult literacy was an index of knowledge, and per capita gross national product adjusted for purchasing power parity as an index of decent life. So, आपको ध्यान आया होगा हमने 3 इंडेक्सेस के बारे में बात करी थी, 3 पॉइंट्स जो कंसिडर किए जाते थे ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स को बनाने के लिए. Now we'll start with the topic human development in India. India, with a population of over 1.20 billion, is ranked 131 among 188 countries of the world in terms of Human Development Index. तो इंडिया का नंबर 131 नंबर पे आता है जब हम ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स की बात करते हैं. With the composite HDI value of 0.624, India finds herself grouped with countries showing medium human development index. This is according to 2016 report. Now, low scores in the human development index is a matter of serious concern, but some reservations have been expressed about the approach as well as indicators selected to calculate the index values and ranking of the states and countries. तो ये हमारा लो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स है, वो एक मैटर, वो उस पर सीरियस थॉट देना चाहिए. लेकिन हमारी जो अप्रोच है उसके लिए हमने बहुत डिफरेंट चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए इसको कैलकुलेट किया है. Lack of sensitivity to the historical factors like colonization, imperialism, and neo-imperialism, socio-cultural factors like human rights violation, social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, and caste, social problems like crimes, terrorism, and war, and political factors like nature of the state, forms of the government, level of empowerment are some factors that are very crucial in determining the nature of human development. These aspects have special significance in case of India and many other developing countries. Since India is a developing country and it was colonized by the Britishers, the after effects of colonization, the effect of terrorism, the effect of social discrimination, effect of human rights violation, then on race, religion, gender discriminations, caste and social problems like crimes, wars, political factors, they have all affected the Human Development Index of India. Using the indicators selected by UNDP, the Planning Commission of India also prepared the Human Development Report for India. It used states and the union territories as the units of analysis. तो ये जो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट है जो बनाता है वो प्लानिंग कमीशन बनाता है. ओके, तो इसने स्टेट्स और यूनियन टेरिटरीज को यूज़ किया as units of analysis. Subsequently, each state government also started preparing the state level human development reports using districts as the units of analysis. Although the final SDI by the Planning Commission of India has been calculated by taking the three indicators as discussed in the book entitled Fundamentals of Human Geography. Final report is being prepared by the Planning Commission of India. Yet this report also discussed other indicators like economic attainment, social empowerment, social distributive justice, accessibility, hygiene, and various welfare measures undertaken by the state. इस रिपोर्ट ने कुछ और चीज़ें इंडिकेटर्स जो कंसिडर करे वो थे सोशल अटेनमेंट, सोशल एम्पावरमेंट इकोनॉमिक अटेनमेंट, सोशल एम्पावरमेंट, सोशल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिव जस्टिस, असेसिबिलिटी, हाइजीन और दूसरे वेलफेयर मेजर्स को भी कंसिडर किया. Some of the important indicators have been discussed in the following pages. So let us first take indicators of economic. So our next topic is indicators of economic attainments. Economic productivity, it forms an integral part of human development. No human development is possible without economic prosperity. Growth of economy and productivity, they are generally assessed by two things, students. First is gross national product and second is per capita income. तो इकोनॉमी का जो हम असेसमेंट करते हैं वो जनरली किन चीज़ों पे बेस्ड होता है? एक तो ग्रॉस नेशनल प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द कंट्री और पर कैपिटा इनकम किसी भी कंट्री की. अब फॉर इंडिया वी हैव एस्टिमेटेड द GDP. Its GDP was rupees 3,200,000 crore at current price, and accordingly per capita income it was estimated to be rupees 20,813. Okay, but these figures they may appear to be very impressive. This is not from the book, I am just explaining you. Okay, so these figures they appear to be very impressive, but when we look to the other side of the picture, when we see the prevalence of poverty, deprivation, malnutrition, illiteracy, and so many different types of problems, and above all, social distributive injustices and large scale regional disparities, then we see that there's so much of difference between the people. Some are extra rich, others are extra poor. So there's a lot of difference between the rich and the poor. On one hand, there are few rich and developed states like Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Delhi, where the per capita income is more than rupees 4,000. On the other hand, there are large number of poorer states also like UP, Bihar, Orissa, MP, Assam, Jammu, Kashmir. So disparities are still prevailing. Okay, now let's read from the book. So rich resource base and access to these resources by all, particularly the poor, downtrodden, and the marginalized, is the key to productivity, well-being, and human development. Gross national product and its per capita in availability are taken as measures to assess the resource base endowment of any country. जैसे कि मैंने अभी आपको बताया, ग्रॉस नेशनल प्रोडक्ट एंड पर कैपिटा अवेलेबिलिटी, दे आर द मेन बेस फॉर generalizing, for finding out the economic condition of any country. Economic attainment and the well-being of individuals depend on the economic growth, employment opportunities and access to the assets. तो इकोनॉमिक अटेनमेंट और लोगों की वेलबींग किस पे डिपेंड करती है वहाँ की इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कैसी है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ कितनी हैं, और असेस टू एसेट्स को कैसे वो असेस. ओवर द ईयर्स द पर कैपिटा इनकम and consumption expenditure in India has increased. As a result, there has been a constant decline in the proportion of population living below poverty line. तो गरीबी इंडिया में ग्रेजुअली कम तो हुई है लेकिन इरेडिकेट नहीं हुई है इंडिया में. The percentage of persons below the poverty line in 2011 to 12 has been estimated as 25.7% in rural areas and 13.7% in urban areas and 21.9% for the country as a whole. The data of poverty for the states show that there are states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur and Odisha, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, which have recorded more than 30% of their population living below the poverty line. तो कुछ स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे जो गरीबी पावर्टी लाइन के बिलो जो पीपल हैं उनका नंबर बहुत ज़्यादा है. जैसे इन सब स्टेट्स में इट इज़ मोर देन 30% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन लिविंग बिलो पावर्टी लाइन. Whereas in some states like Gujarat, Haryana, Jammu Kashmir, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttarakhand and West Bengal, वहाँ पे 10 to 20% of their population lives below poverty line. Then in Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Punjab, Sikkim, Puducherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Daman and Diu, Lakshadweep have below 10% of their population living below poverty line. तो अलग अलग स्टेट्स में जो people living below poverty line, their number is different. Now, what is poverty actually? Poverty, it is a state of deprivation. In absolute terms, it reflects the inability of an individual to satisfy certain basic needs for a sustained, healthy, and reasonably productive living. So, what is poverty? Why people are living below poverty line? Because they are unable to satisfy their basic needs. And when people are unable to satisfy their basic needs, their income is very low, so they are termed as poor people or people living below poverty line. The gross domestic product of a country does not fully reflect the quality of life of a country. There are other factors also like housing, access to public transport, air quality, and access to drinking water, which also determine the standard of living. Jobless growth and rampant unemployment are some of the important reasons for higher incidences of poverty in India. Next is indicators of a healthy life. Now, health, as we know, it is a major component of development. It is measured in terms of birth rate, death rate, and life expectancy. These are the three criteria for judging the life of the people of a country. So, life free from illness and ailment and living a reasonably long span of life are indicative of a healthy life. Availability of pre and postnatal healthcare facilities in order to reduce infant mortality and post delivery deaths among mothers, old age health care, adequate nutrition, and safety of individual are some of the important measures of a healthy and reasonably long life. The important things क्या है? इन्फेंट मॉर्टेलिटी रेट को रिड्यूस करना, पोस्ट डिलीवरी जो डेथ्स होती थी मदर्स की उनको रिड्यूस करना, ओल्ड एज जो हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स थी तो लोगों को प्रॉपर हेल्थ केयर फैसिलिटीज़ प्रोवाइड करना, प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन देना जिससे उनका प्रॉपर हेल्थ केयर हो सके। ठीक है ना। India has done reasonably well in some of the health indicators, like there has been continuous decline in the death rate from 25.1 per thousand in 1951 to 6.5 per thousand in 2015, and the infant mortality from 1.48 per thousand to 37 during the same period. Similarly, it also succeeded in increasing life expectancy at birth from 37.1 years to 66.9 years for males and 36.2 to 70 years for females from 1951 to 2015. Though these are great achievements, a lot needs to be done. Similarly, it has also done reasonably well in bringing down birth rate from 40.8 to 20.8 during the same years, but still it is much higher than many developed countries. So, we see though the birth rate is decreasing now, death rate is also declining, and life expectancy is increasing. There's much to be done still. The situation is more alarming when seen in the context of gender specific and rural and urban health indicators. जब हम रूरल और अर्बन एरियाज को कंसिडर करते हैं तो there's lot to be done. India has recorded declining female sex ratio. The findings of 2011 census of India are very disturbing, particularly in case of child sex ratio in the age group of 0 to 6 years. Female sex ratio is now declining. This is a matter of great concern because of preference of the male child. The other significant features of the report are, with the exception of Kerala, the child sex ratio has declined in all the states, and it is the most alarming in the developed states of Haryana and Punjab, where it is below 850 female children per 1,000 male children. What factors are responsible for it? Is it the social attitude or scientific methods of sex determination? Next is indicators of social empowerment. Now, development is freedom. Freedom from hunger, poverty, servitude, bondage, ignorance, illiteracy, and many other forms of domination is the key to human development. Freedom in real sense of the term is possible only with the empowerment and participation of the people in the exercise of their capabilities and choices in the society. Access to knowledge about the society and environment are fundamental to freedom. Literacy is the beginning of access to such a world of knowledge and freedom. The main indicator of social empowerment is literacy level of the people. So, डेवलपमेंट इज फ्रीडम. जैसे जैसे लोगों का डेवलपमेंट होगा then they will become free from the pangs of hunger, poverty, servitude और bondage, ignorance, illiteracy और बहुत सारी चीज़ें जिनको सोसाइटी ने ग्रिप करा हुआ है, तो इन सब से they will become free. So the most important thing is for social empowerment, for the empowerment of the population, literacy level has to increase. Now, table 3.3, it shows the percentage of literacy in India, and this reveals some interesting facts. The First is overall literacy in India is approximately 74.04%. This was in 2011, while female literacy is 65.46%. Second, total literacy as well as female literacy is higher than the national average in most of the states from South India. Third, there are wide regional disparities in literacy rate across the states of India. There is a state like Bihar which has very low, that is 63.82% literacy. And there are states like Kerala and Mizoram which have the literacy rate of 93.91 and 91.58% respectively. So, apart from the spatial variations, percentage of literates in the rural areas and among the marginalized sections of our society, such as females, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, agricultural laborers, etc., is very low. It is worth mentioning here that though there has been improvement in the percent of literates among the marginalized section, yet the gap between the richer and the marginalized sections of the population has increased over the years. So, it is very important to increase the literacy rate. Our social empowerment, totally it is based upon the literacy level of a country. Next is Human Development Index in India. In the backdrop of the above mentioned important indicators, the Planning Commission calculated the Human Development Index by taking the states and union territories as the unit of analysis. India has been placed among the countries showing medium human development. What is the rank of India among the 188 countries of the world? As indicated in Table 3.4, Kerala, with the composite index value of 0.790, is placed at the top rank, followed by Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Goa, and Punjab. As expected, states like Bihar, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh are at the bottom among the 23 major states in India. So, this is the table 3.4, which gives us the Human Development Index of the various states of India. There are several socio-political, economic, and historical reasons for such a state of affairs. Kerala is able to record the highest value in the HDI largely due to its impressive performance in achieving near 100% literacy. In a different scenario, the states like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Assam, and Uttar Pradesh have very low literacy. States showing higher total literacy rates have less gaps between the male and female literacy rates. So, literacy plays an important role in the development of a country. Where the literacy rate is higher, their overall development is also higher. Apart from the educational attainment, the levels of economic development do place significant impacts on the HDI. Economically developed states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab and Haryana have higher value of HDI as compared to states like Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Economic development, first is literacy, second is economic development. It also plays an important role when we calculate the Human Development Index. Regional distortions and social disparities which developed during the colonial period continue to play an important role in the Indian economy, polity, and society. The Government of India has made concerted efforts to institutionalize the balanced development with its main focus on social distributive justice through planned development. it has made significant achievements in most of the fields, but these are still below the desired level. So government of India is continuously making efforts to go towards betterment to increase the human development index, but still we have a long way to go. Now, let us take the last topic of this chapter: population, environment, and development. Development in general and human development in particular, it is a complex concept used in social sciences. It is complex because for ages it was thought that development is a substantive concept, and once it is achieved, it will address all the socio-cultural and environmental ills of the society. Though development has brought in significant improvement in the quality of life in more than one way, but increasing regional disparities, social inequalities, discriminations, deprivations, displacement of people, abuse of human rights, and undermining human values and environmental degradation have also increased. So, though development is taking place, but these problems have also increased. Social inequalities, discriminations, deprivations, abuse, undermining human values, environmental degradation, all these problems are also increasing. So, considering the gravity and sensitivity of the issues involved, the UNDP, in its Human Development Report in 1993, it tried to amend some of the implicit biases and prejudices which were entrenched in the concept of डेवलपमेंट 1993 की जो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट थी उसने कुछ हद तक ट्राई किया इस डेवलपमेंट के कंसेप्ट को चेंज करने का. इट इंक्रीज्ड पीपल्स पार्टिसिपेशन. People's participation was considered to be very important, and their security were the major issues in the Human Development Report of 1993. जो 1993 की जो रिपोर्ट थी उसने it laid more stress on the human values, on social empowerment. It emphasized on the progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people as minimum conditions for human development. समझ में आया ना? This is important. The report recognized greater constructive role of civil societies in bringing about peace and human development. The civil society should work for the building up opinion for reduction in the military expenditure, demobilization of armed forces, transition from defense to production of basic goods and services, and particularly disarmament and reduction in the nuclear warheads by the developed countries. In a nuclearized world, peace and well-being are the major global concerns. So, more stress should be laid on production rather on wars. Okay, because lot of expenditure is done on all these things. If this expenditure is done on the production in the country, that will be more fruitful. At the other extreme of this approach lie the views expressed by the neo Malthusians, environmentalists, and radical ecologists. They believe that for a happy and peaceful social life, proper balance between population and resources is a necessary condition. There should be a proper balance between population and resources. According to these thinkers, the gap between the resources and population has widened after 18th century. There have been marginal expansion in the resources of the world in the last 3 100 years. But there has been phenomenal growth in the human population. तो resources increase कम हो रहे हैं, but human population is growing at a fast speed. Development has only contributed in increasing the multiple in increasing the multiple uses of the limited resources of the world, and there has been enormous increase in the demand for these resources. Therefore, prime task before any development activity is to maintain parity between population and the resources. A scholar like Sir Robert Malthus was the first one to voice his concern about the growing scarcity of resources as compared to human population. So now voice was even lifted for increasing the resources, because if the resources come to an end, how will we feed such a large population? Apparently, this argument looks logical and convincing, but a critical look will reveal certain intrinsic flaws, such as resources are not a neutral category. It is not the availability of resources that is important as their social distribution. Resources everywhere are unevenly distributed. Rich countries and people have access to large resource baskets, while the poor find their resources shrinking. Moreover, unending pursuit for the control is more and more resources by the powerful, and use of the same are exhibiting one's prowess is the prime cause of conflicts as well as apparent contradictions between population, resource and development. So, अब जैसे जैसे रिसोर्सेज और पॉपुलेशन में एक बैलेंस मेंटेन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. नाउ द रिसोर्सेज आर more in the hands of the powerful people and powerful states. So, this imbalance will create problems. So, that is very important. Now, Indian culture and civilization have been very sensitive to the issues of population, resource, and development for a long time. It would not be incorrect to say that the ancient scriptures were essentially concerned about the balance and harmony among the elements of nature. Mahatma Gandhi in the recent times advocated the reinforcement of the harmony and balance between the two. He was quite apprehensive about the ongoing development, particularly the way industrialization has institutionalized the loss of mortality, spirituality, self reliance, non violence, and mutual cooperation environment. In his opinion, austerity for individual, trusteeship of social wealth, and non violence are the key to attain higher goals in the life of an individual as well as that of a nation. His views were also re echoed in the Club of Rome reports Limits to Growth, Shoemaker's book Small is Beautiful in 1974, and Brundtland Commission's report Our Common Future in 1987, and finally in the Agenda 21 report of the Rio Conference in 1993. You must have read about all this in the class 10th syllabus, okay? So, this is all about human development. Thank you, children.